everyone, this is my action research project, Higher Order Thinking Skills in the Math Classroom. So most of you probably know this, but I am a 4th grade math and science teacher. I teach in the Dallastown School District at Dallastown Area Intermediate School. There's a picture of my team there. We're a learning support team. So about a third of our students, we share 100 students between the 5 of us, and about a third of them receive learning support services. I am at the tail end, graduating in 2 weeks, woohoo, with my master's in ACTE with a concentration in STEM. And I included there one of my favorite STEAM quotes. I saw it at a conference that I went to, and it just really resonated with me about what STEAM actually is and why why it's important to incorporate it into the classroom. So that's the program that I am in. So the purpose of my research project was to get my students to think outside the box without asking me for help or without asking me for reassurance that they were doing the right thing every step of the way. I felt like my students had a lower level of independence with a lot of the things that we did, and they were always worried about if they were on the right track or if they were doing something right or wrong. So I kind of wanted them to realize that there are things in life where there are multiple correct answers and multiple avenues to get to the correct answer. And you need to kind of think for yourself and how important these activities are. So that was kind of my purpose. The official research questions that I was looking to answer, though, were how will incorporating higher order thinking and problem-solving activities into a daily math lesson impact students' view of their own confidence in mathematics? To what extent will higher order thinking skills increase students' opinions of math class? And how will students transfer problem-solving strategies when working independently without teacher support? So again, a lot of that level of independence and their own view of math, how they see math, how they see themselves in math class. I wanted to see if these activities kind of increased all of that, their level of independence, as well as how they view math. So for my lit review, I had a bunch of different sources. I just took these 3 quotes right from my lit review that kind of encompassed everything that I was seeing and that I was feeling, and just kind of gave it a citation. So the first one says, opportunities to utilize higher order thinking skills, which allow students to stretch their critical thinking muscles in the mathematics classroom, are lacking. So that was just a way to prove that we do need to teach these skills, and the students do need to know that math is more than just adding 2 numbers together to get one correct answer. These higher order thinking skills and thinking outside of the box problems and activities are just as important. The next 2 are from the same study. The first one says, these skills, which are the higher order thinking skills, are currently lacking in our schools, and if executed correctly within the classroom, can benefit students in the classroom and in their post-secondary life in the workforce. This study did a nice job of showing that these skills aren't just going to help them in my 4th grade math class, but if they continue to utilize them throughout their schooling, that it's going to help them after they graduate from high school, wherever they go. If they go to post-secondary education, if they go into the workforce, wherever they go, these skills are going to help them. The last one kind of relates it to number sense, and I'm just going to read the last sentence there. The research stated that giving students options for solving simple problems increases their ability to think clearly when they see that math can be represented in many different ways. A lot of times I think students are confused that there's only one correct answer in math, and that's not always the case. So here I have the 4 activities that I implemented. They're all from classroomchef.com. The first one was Would You Rather? So the students were given 2 situations and they had to argue their point, would they rather? This one at the top here, how many green marshmallows are needed to complete the 4-leaf clover? That is an estimation 180. The students love those. They have to estimate, whatever the answer to the problem would be. First they had to make an estimate that was too low, then too high, and then find their estimate and explain their reasoning. This one proved to be the fan favorite, but also the toughest, because at first they would say, well, a number that's too low would be 0 marshmallows, and a number that was too high would be 1,000 marshmallows. So we kind of worked on shortening that range and making it, instead of 0 to 1,000, saying, okay, well, it's probably somewhere between 20 and 50 marshmallows. Let's choose a number in between there. Open middle down here asks the students to use the numbers 1 through 9 only once to solve a certain problem. So this one pictured here, they have to use the numbers 1 through 9 to create a fraction as close to 1 as possible. And they can only use the numbers 1 through 9. So it kind of developed that number sense, and where do you want your biggest numbers and where do you want your smallest numbers. This last one here is same or different, where students were given 2 different pictures and they just simply had to say what was the same and what was different. And after you got the obvious ones out of the way, colors, shapes, sizes, it started to get a little more difficult, and that's where the higher order thinking really tapped in. I have some student work examples here. This first one's estimation 180, so here's the prompt: how many pieces are in this Lego set? And then there are 2 student examples there. You can see that some of the students, their reasoning was tough for them. He just wrote, because it's a lot of Legos. Where this student down here at the bottom brought in some background knowledge to say, okay, well, my brother plays with Legos, I play with Legos, so this is why I'm thinking that it's going to be a certain number. And then they would go on to say, okay, we know that there are 448 pieces in this whole set, so how many will it take to make this big long truck? So then you have to say, okay, well, I know that there are 448 in the whole pack, so it can't be 500. The findings that I found were that my students generally do enjoy math class, which was great. I was glad to see that in my pre-survey that I just gave it through Google Forms. And especially of the hot activities, which is what I called them, the higher order thinking activities. They did seem to like them right from the get-go. So I was happy to see that after doing them on a consistent basis, that the students still enjoyed math class. They still enjoyed doing those. And you could see when I would announce which one that we were going to do that day, that they were all very excited and very invested in their work. So, in conclusion, will I incorporate these activities in the future? Absolutely. I think instead of doing them in a rotation or at the end of class, like I did them for these 3 weeks, I would start class with them, because I think that it would set the tone for the day. Just seeing the level of excitement and enthusiasm that my students had, I think that starting class off with that will help them for the rest of the class to say, okay, no, math can be fun, and they can then use those skills that we've taught to kind of incorporate those into the regular math class. How important were these activities to my students' math learning abilities? I did think that these were beneficial and they impacted their math learning abilities, that they weren't afraid to be wrong at the end. They weren't afraid. They still definitely needed help. I did not have any student have a 100% level of independence. They were all very unsure, and it took a lot for them to just write something down on a paper and hand in without knowing if they were on the right track. But I do think that they started to see the importance of the activities and the importance of just trying something, writing something down, and how that's better than not writing anything at all. And seeing the enthusiasm about math was inspirational to me to kind of continue this and to show them that math can be fun, which I always knew, but it's nice to see that 4th graders feel the same way. All right, let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Thanks.